There is a kind of power that does not arrive loudly. It does not shake the ground when it enters. It does not bend the world to announce itself. It does not ask to be witnessed or believed. It exists, whether you see it or not. And most of the time, you don't, because it does not live on the surface. It lives beneath your thoughts, beneath your doubts, beneath everything you have been told about who you are supposed to be. It waits there, quietly, not sleeping, but watching, not fading, but holding. Because real strength does not disappear. It withdraws. It recedes into silence until something calls it forward. And that call does not come from desire. It does not come from ambition. It does not come from wanting to be more. It comes from necessity, from a moment where everything you believe is no longer enough. And in that moment, something shifts, not outside you, but within. A fracture in the illusion, a crack in the identity you've carried. And through that crack, something older begins to move, something you did not build, something you were not taught, something you forgot. Because the greatest strength you possess is not the one you use. It is the one you no longer remember, buried under years of doubt, buried under fear disguised as logic, buried under a world that rewards you for staying small. And there was once a being who carried that exact kind of power, not as a weapon, not as a role, but as a truth so immense that even he could not see it. Before doubt, there is only instinct. Before fear, there is only movement. And as a child, he existed in that state, unfiltered, unmeasured, unrestricted. The world had not yet told him what was impossible, so nothing was. The ground did not define him. The sky did not limit him. Distance meant nothing, because distance only exists for those who believe in it. And one morning, in that state of untouched perception, he looked upward, and he saw the sun, not as something distant, not as something dangerous, but as something alive, something radiant, something inviting. It did not feel unreachable. It felt present, as if it were not meant to be observed, but approached. And without hesitation, he moved, not carefully, not with calculation, but with complete certainty. The kind of certainty that disappears the moment you are taught to question yourself. He leapt, and in that leap, there was no doubt, no fear of falling, no awareness of consequence, only motion, only direction, only the undeniable pull towards something greater. He rose through air that could not slow him, through clouds that parted without resistance, through light that wrapped around him like recognition. And for a moment, the impossible collapsed. The distance between earth and sun ceased to exist, and he came closer than anything like him ever had, not because he was trying to defy the world, but because he had not yet learned to accept its limits. But the world is not built for beings who do not recognize their own limits, not because they are wrong, but because they are unpredictable. Power without awareness is not something the world welcomes. It is something the world contains. The gods watched, and what they saw was not innocence, not beauty, but potential without control. And potential like that is dangerous, not because it intends harm, but because it does not understand restraint. And so, they intervened, not with force, not with destruction, but with something far more effective. They altered his perception, not his strength, not his nature, but his awareness of it. They placed a silence over his truth, a veil, thin enough to be invisible, but strong enough to be absolute. And in that moment, nothing about him changed, except everything that mattered. The strength remained, the power remained, the possibility remained. But the knowing was gone. And without knowing, power becomes irrelevant, because power you cannot access is indistinguishable from weakness. And this is how forgetting begins, not through loss, but through disconnection. You are not stripped of what you are. You are simply separated from the awareness of it. And once that separation exists, you adapt, you adjust, you become smaller. Not because you have to, but because you believe you are. He lived not as a legend, not as something extraordinary, but as something familiar. He moved through the world the way others did, step by step, moment by moment. Nothing about him demanded attention, nothing about him disrupted the ordinary. And yet, something never aligned. A quiet imbalance that had no name, a subtle tension that never fully released, like carrying a weight you cannot see, but can never put down. There were moments, brief, almost unnoticeable, where something deeper tried to emerge. In the way he moved without effort, in the way obstacles felt less like barriers and more like suggestions, in the way fear never fully settled inside him. But each time, it passed, because awareness requires recognition, and recognition requires memory, and without memory, truth becomes invisible. So he adjusted, like everyone does. He learned the shape of limitation. He learned the language of doubt. He learned to measure himself against a world that had already decided what was possible. And slowly, the distance between what he was and what he believed himself to be grew until it became normal. And then, the moment arrived. Not announced, not prepared for, but unavoidable. A situation that did not respond to effort. A challenge that could not be solved by what he believed he was. And suddenly, everything familiar stopped working. The limits he had accepted became obstacles. The identity he had built became insufficient. And there he stood, at the edge of something he could not cross. Not as a hero, not as a savior, but as someone who had reached the boundary of his own belief. And in that silence, something changed, not around him, within him, a voice not external, not overwhelming, but precise. It did not instruct him. It did not guide him. It reminded him of something he had always been, a truth, spoken into the exact space where doubt had lived. And when it landed, it did not feel new. It felt familiar, unsettlingly familiar, like remembering something you didn't realize you had forgotten. And deep beneath thought, something began to move. At first, it was subtle, almost nothing. A shift in breath, a stillness in the body, a quiet sense that something had realigned. Then more. The weight he carried began to change, not disappearing, but transforming, becoming, grounding instead of limiting. And then, recognition, not loud, not overwhelming, but undeniable. The kind of knowing that does not require proof. And in that moment, he stopped resisting, stopped questioning, stopped shrinking. Because power does not require certainty, it requires allowance. And for the first time, he allowed it. Not fully, not completely, but enough to move forward, enough to act without needing reassurance. And then, he leapt again. But this time, everything was different. The air did not resist him. The sky did not feel distant. The world did not feel separate, because he was no longer reaching. He was remembering. Most power, once discovered, demands to be seen. It seeks validation. It seeks dominance. It seeks proof. But his did not. His strength did not expand outward to consume the world. It aligned inward. It became precise, intentional, controlled, because strength without ego does not need recognition. It does not need to compare. It does not need to win. It moves only when necessary, and when it does not hesitate. It does not doubt. It simply acts. And that is what makes it dangerous, because it cannot be manipulated. It cannot be provoked. It exists outside the systems that control everything else, and when it appears, it changes everything. But even that was not his greatest strength. It was his devotion, a loyalty so complete. It dissolved the need for self-definition, not submission, not obedience, but alignment to something beyond identity. Because when strength belongs to the self, it is fragile. It can be shaken. It can be broken. It can be lost. But when it belongs to something greater, it becomes stable, unmoving, unbreakable. And that is what he became, not just powerful, but anchored, a force that could not be redirected, because it was no longer about him. This is not just a story. It was never just a story, because the same pattern exists in you. The same forgetting, the same silence, the same distance between what you are and what you believe you are. You were not born limited. You were taught limits. You were not made small. You were shown where to stop until you stopped yourself. But beneath all of that, something remains, unchanged, unaffected, waiting, not to be given to you, but to be remembered. And one day, you will reach a moment where what you know is not enough, where what you believe fails you. And in that moment, something will surface, quietly, clearly. And when it does, you will not become something new. You will return to something that was always there. And when you finally move, it will not feel like effort. It will not feel like force. It will feel like recognition, like something falling into place that was never truly lost. And in that moment, you won't reach for the sun. You will understand you were never beneath it.